All right, what is going on, folks? Wrestling Otaku back here on the Wrestling Otaku channel, your personification of excellence on YouTube and YWC, and where the best reviews wrestling. And I'm back here for this little video. It is now Friday, June 14th, 2024. Hope you all had a satisfactory week, all that kind of stuff as we head into the weekend here. So I wanted to go ahead and make some content here since I kind of been on and off in terms of being active in terms of doing videos here. So I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of content here. So here today with this video, I'm going to be telling you guys three New Japan Pro Wrestling talents, three New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestlers that I would like to see personally as AEW fully contracted talents in AEW and All Elite Wrestling. So as you guys know, Forbidden Door is right around the corner, a little over 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from Sunday. It takes place June 30th. I forget the location. I believe it's I forget the location right offhand, but yeah, Forbidden Door is a little over 2 weeks away. And as you guys know, as you all should know, obviously, Forbidden Door is a big joint AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling pay-per-view. You got talents from both promotions. Even this year, you have talents from CMLL who are going to be thrown into the mix. They've already announced several matches, several big matches. You got Swerve Strickland defend the AEW World's title against international champion Will Ospreay. That's going to be a mega match. The IWGP title's on the line. Jon Moxley defends against Tetsuya Naito. You got Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Pacour from CMLL. Timeless Toni Storm defends her AEW Women's World title against Mina Shirakawa. And there are several other matches made, and I'm sure several more are going to be announced for the card between now and June 30th for Forbidden Door. So it's a big deal. You know, it's been a big deal for the last several years they've been doing it. And as a result of Forbidden Door being so close, what they're doing right now in AEW is you see a lot of kind of cross promotion where you'll see a lot of wrestlers from other promotions, specifically New Japan and CMLL, make regular, frequent appearances on AEW shows, specifically Dynamite and Collision. Sometimes every now and then Rampage as well. And so while I was, seeing that, just seeing that, seeing all the kind of influx of wrestlers from other promotions, I kind of got to thinking and I got the idea for this video. So I just kind of thought to myself, who would I like to see in terms of wrestlers on the active New Japan Pro Wrestling roster? Who would I personally like to see as full-time AEW wrestlers? And so that's where I made this video. So I'm here to give you guys the three wrestlers who I would like to see go from New Japan Pro Wrestling to AEW full-time. And when I say become AEW, I don't mean like every once in a while like they're doing right now because of, again, Forbidden Door, which are obviously you guys know AEW and New Japan have this, they got this partnership, they got this kind of, coercion where, you see AEW wrestlers on New Japan shows and vice versa. There's obviously obvious, talent exchange. They got obviously, whatever agreement, whatever partnership they got going on. So you'll see talent exchanges and things of that nature. What I'm referring to is an AEW. What I'm referring to is a New Japan Pro Wrestler talent from New Japan Pro Wrestling being signed full-time by AEW. That's what I'm referring to in this video. So, with that being said, without further ado, let's get to the list here. So, my first name is going to be somebody who I believe at some point will end up being in AEW. I think it's only just fitting, just considering, all things considered. It seems like AEW, especially from the last couple of years, has been I guess you could say, the new home for up-and-coming, rising stars from New Japan Pro Wrestling. You got Jay White. More recently, you got Will Ospreay. You got Okada. You got, of course, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis, and then even before that, of course, you got the Bucks and Omega, who founded AEW, got their big, made their big name and got their start in New Japan Pro Wrestling as part of Bullet Club. And you have, just to name a few, there's a number of talents who started out in New Japan who have now made their home in AEW and All Elite Wrestling. And so for my first guy, it is going to be another individual who is synonymous with New Japan, who is part of the Bullet Club, or at least I think he still is. I don't know if he is or not. I'm pretty sure he's either he's either the leader or one of the leaders, and that being David Finlay. Now, David Finlay, I've been following for quite some time. I think he's been again in New Japan, and I believe last I remember he was the leader of Bullet Club or something like that. He took over leadership from the previous leader, whatever have you. You have to forgive me if I don't know right offhand because I don't follow New Japan as closely as maybe other people have. It's just it's really hard here in the States to get New Japan shows and stuff like that. So, but last I remember, he was like the leader or the front runner of Bullet Club, at least in New Japan, whatever have you. And I think it's just David Finlay is the kind of talent who he is certainly in that kind of rarefied air to where I'm honestly surprised that if he hasn't been, IWGP champion already. He should be in the running at the very least. But yeah, so I think his name kind of really sticks out to me. Of course, if you guys know, Juice Robinson now in AEW is part of the Bang Bang Gang. He and David Finlay had that tag team FinJuice. This was before, of course, David Finlay signed with Bullet Club and all that kind of stuff. And of course, you got Jay White, who's synonymous. Obviously they got their history. Jay White and David Finlay, I mean. And so yeah, I think it's only fitting, and I think it's only appropriate that at some point David Finlay will make the jump full on from New Japan to AEW, and I personally would like to see it. So number one for my number one on the list would be David Finlay. Number two is an individual who has made appearances in AEW, and in fact, he's going to be wrestling at Forbidden Door against an AEW talent. That being the individual who at one point called himself the best technical wrestler in the world, Zack Sabre Jr. So Zack Sabre Jr. is scheduled to face off against Orange Cassidy at Forbidden Door. He's wrestled in a various number of matches at Forbidden Door and against AEW talents in general. I think he was on like Dynamite a few times or Collision a few times in the last few years. But yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. is another guy, part of that British strong style kind of wrestler. Very very technically sound wrestler, much like a Will Ospreay, much like a Kyle Fletcher, who started out from those UK, those British promotions, and they make the jump to New Japan, and now obviously Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis are all in AEW right now. So I think it's only natural that at some point Zack Sabre Jr. come over here as well. And also, I do believe that Zack Sabre Jr. Bryan Danielson wrestled a match not too long ago. Well, actually, I think that was last year. I think it was last year for Forbidden Door, if I'm not mistaken. Forgive me, my memory's kind of hazy, if you will, at my old age. But yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. would be my number two. And then number three, I think is another name that would be fitting, just considering that this individual's mentor is an AEW talent, and is not only is he an AEW talent, he's one of the top tier talents in AEW right now, and he happens to be the current IWGP Heavyweight Champion, that being Jon Moxley. So my number three New Japan talent who I would like to see be a full-time wrestler in AEW, that would be the shooter, Shota Umino. So Shota Umino is one of the up-and-coming talents, one of the up-and-coming acts, one of the up-and-coming wrestlers in New Japan, has been for a couple of years. I think he was taken originally under the tutelage of Jon Moxley 4 years ago. They mentioned it tonight on Rampage, when Shota Umino wrestled a match against Rocky Romero. But I think it's another kind of a situation where Shota Umino has a lot of connections here. He has a lot of, there's a lot of people in AEW who are familiar with him. Jon Moxley obviously being the biggest name, but there's a number of other guys who he is, has been, I'm sure, has had encounters with in the past when it comes to his time in New Japan. So I think it's, I think it's a very fitting place, and it's, a very appropriate place, shall we say, for Shota Umino to end up if the time ever comes where New Japan ends up letting him go, or if he lets his contract expire, whatever the case may be. So those are my three names. Those are the three wrestlers, three individuals, New Japan talents who I would like to see in AEW, and who I think will be in AEW at some point. Number one, David Finlay. Number two, Zack Sabre Jr. And number three, Shota Umino. So that's pretty much going to do it for my list here, and that's going to conclude this video. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video here. Just, again, wanted to get back to doing some more frequent content, or at least try to. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, give me your thoughts on my my list here, my little choosing of selection, if you will, of New Japan talents who I would like to see in AEW. If you like to maybe suggest the name of your own, who suggest a New Japan wrestler who you think would be in AEW, who would be a good fit in AEW, or who you would like to see full time as a contracted, as a full time contracted AEW wrestler, go ahead and hit me up in the comments. Let me know. Give me your thoughts and all that kind of stuff. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, man, if you haven't already. Appreciate all the support and get. With that being said, that is pretty much going to do it for this video. So thank you for watching. I'll be back with more content in the near future. Till then, Wrestling Otaku, I'm out. See you guys later. Peace.